everyone, my name is Danny, welcome to Jones Vibes, and welcome back to all of you fans of Avatar: The Last Airbender. It feels good to be back, I'm not gonna lie. It has been a crazy busy month for me here on the channel. I've been making a lot of different types of content. Also, it's summertime, so there are a lot of huge blockbusters that have been coming out that I've been covering, but I've been keeping an eye out for anything ATLA related, any updates, any news articles that might have come out. It's honestly been relatively slow, and so over the last few weeks, I've kind of just been letting things build up so that I can make a worthwhile video for you guys. So that is what we're doing today. There have been a few different things that have popped up, at least a couple different articles that I want to point to and kind of walk through, and then I wanted to touch on Aang a little bit today. If you're a fan of my Avatar content, you'll notice that I've made a ton of videos and I've covered a lot of different subjects as we head towards season 2 of the live action adaptation, but the one character that I haven't touched on nearly as much as probably I should is Aang. And so we're going to focus on him and some changes that I'd like to see in the second season of the live action, and then also cover some of this stuff. So, as always, be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments. Your opinion is always appreciated around here, and let's dive in. So the first update comes to us from Night Edge Media. I've talked about him a lot, but Caleb over there, he has some great sources when it comes to the live action adaptation, and so this is an exclusive by him. It says Julie Tao joins Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 3. Today we at Night Edge Media can exclusively report that actress Julie Tao has joined the cast of Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 3. She's had minor roles in To All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You, and So Help Me Todd. She recently traveled to Iceland, where the entire cast and crew were filming on location for the third and final season of the show. Her character is currently unknown, as the Iceland shoot covered different scenes throughout the third season, not just the first episode. Another cool thing he pointed out in this, the rest of the cast will now travel back to Vancouver to complete filming this season, which will begin next week and run through November. And this article came out about a week ago, and so they are currently filming in Vancouver. They are there right now, and I think it's absolutely wild that season 3 is filming right now. When you think about it, we went from season 1 production to season 1 being released, and then we went straight into season 2, and so it's been exciting, but now knowing that season 3 is also being filmed, it's just going to be such a cohesive thing. It's all going to happen at the same time. We're going to get season 2, and then we're probably going to head pretty quickly into the marketing for season 3. It's just going to be an exciting couple of years. But as far as Julie Tao goes, the reason why I didn't make an entire video centered around her is because, one, I don't know who in the heck she could be playing in season 3. There are a lot of women characters in season 2 and season 3, but a lot of them have already been cast, you know what I mean? I feel like she's probably playing some sort of character that is just new to the show. It could be something at the Boiling Rock, could be something in the final battle, could be something in the Earth Kingdom. I have no idea, I really don't know. But as for the actress herself, the reason why I wanted to bring it up in this video is because I kind of just want to rely on you guys. Like, have you seen either of these shows? To All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You, and So Help Me Todd. I had them on my list, I just haven't finished it. No, I honestly haven't heard of either of these shows, and I've never seen her in anything. So some people might be really excited about seeing that she was cast in this. Again, I don't really know much about her, but she seems chill. She seems pretty cool. I guess regardless, we'll look forward to seeing her in season 3, see what she does, and also I'll let you guys know if I hear anything else. But moving on to this next article, it's an article from Screen Rant, and I do want to shout out Luca here on my channel. Luca was telling me in the comments, he was like, hey dude, did you see this article that came out about bloodbending? And I got back to him, I said, you know, I've seen this article, it came across my timeline, and the reason why I didn't really want to cover it or dive into it is because I've already made an entire video talking about Hama and talking about the bloodbending, and when I took a look at this article, it's mainly speculative, right? So there's not a lot of updates happening here, nothing new is happening. Basically, Screen Rant is just saying, we think that bloodbending could be introduced in the series a little bit earlier than season 3, and that could be true, that could very well be true. The only thing is, like, in the video that I talked about Hama and talking about Tantu Cardinal getting cast as her, that was very much an announcement coming from Netflix announcing that she was going to be in season 3, and so that very much says to me, bloodbending is going to follow suit like the original animated series, and it's going to be in season 3. Now, could they lay the groundwork and kind of bring some stuff up in season 2? They might bring it up, and I think it could be cool to kind of flesh that out. I just don't really know for certain, and all that I would be doing is speculating, kind of like what this article is doing, you know what I mean? But thanks to Luca, thank you so much for bringing this back up to my attention, because I saw it, and I do think it's a fun conversation to have. I will link that video down in the description if you guys want to hear me talk a little bit about what I think of the Puppet Master, as well as what I think of the casting for Tantu Cardinal. But as for now, I just want you guys to know, I'm sure you guys already know, but the Puppet Master is one of my favorite episodes from the original animated animated series, and I want more than anything to see them actually pull that off in live action. I think it's going to be incredible. I feel like they need to dedicate an entire episode to it rather than just having it smushed in, kind of like they did in season 1 with some of the storylines. I feel like Hama deserves all of her moments in glory, and we need to see Katara embody that. But this article does have a pretty cool point. I'll link this down in the description as well. Maybe we do see Katara in season 2 hear about bloodbending, and she's like, wait a minute, I could do what? And the last bit of news that I wanted to talk about actually isn't directly from an article. It's just a bit of conversation that's been happening online, and that is the release date and the release timeline. Now, when we look at season 2 releasing, I think a lot of us are pretty well aware that it's going to be releasing early in 2026, but that is all but now confirmed. Like, it will be releasing in like Q1 of 2026. I really don't think they're going to push it out much farther than that because it worked well for season 1. Season 1 was early in the year in 2024, and now moving into this one, it's going to do the same thing, and I would imagine they're going to do the same exact thing with season 3, have it be early in 2027 or maybe even into the summer. The only reason why I feel like season 2 has to be Q1 of 2026 is because we have that October release date now for the Aang movie, the animated Aang movie, and I know sometimes people feel like Netflix as well as Avatar Studios are at odds with this IP, but they're definitely not, and they're definitely going to work in conjunction with each other to make sure that each one flourishes. And so season 2 will come out, and then you're giving ample time to market and also kind of prop up the Aang movie that is coming out in the fall. So I think that's going to be perfect, and that's what I foresee, at least when we hear these announcements of the official dates. That's what I foresee is going to be happening with the live action version. So tentative release date still, we don't have an official release date of the second season, but I think you can safely expect Q1. But that's about it for ATLA news on the day. We're going to be moving on to Aang next after the break. So guys, I want to come clean. It's hard when you look at Avatar The Last Airbender, the series, and you try to pick a favorite character, right? And especially with the live action adaptation, when I'm reporting on this stuff, it's also hard not to have biases. Like, when I look at Zuko, the character, and Dallas Liu as an actor, I just get excited. And same with Elizabeth Yu and Azula. I just get excited because I love the Fire Nation stuff. I love the villainous stuff, you know what I mean? I love that side of things. And Aang has never been my favorite character of the original animated series. Even though he's right there, it's always been Zuko. And so when I'm reporting on this show, like, it's been easy to talk about Zuko and not as easy to talk about Aang, but we do need to start focusing on Aang because he is the most important element, no pun, in this live action adaptation, and Gordon has a long way to go as an actor in order to kind of prove himself, I think, to the fan base as well as to audiences, you know what I mean? Like, in the first season, expectations were this is a new kid coming into this role, let's see how he does, and he did fine. Season 1 with Aang's character doesn't have a lot to offer in terms of depth anyway, you know what I mean? He is just the boy in the iceberg. He's out there, he's having fun, he wants to go penguin sledding, you know what I mean? Like, he's just doing his thing. It's all kind of fun and games until you get towards the tail end. But season 2 and season 3, there is a lot going on, and in animation it's one thing, and you can kind of feel these emotions. A lot of times within animation, it's less about the dialogue and it's more about what you're watching on screen, right? But when it comes to live action adaptations, you can only do so much, and the dialogue has to be there and the performance has to be there. When you're looking at a drawing or you're looking at animation, like if somebody's getting emotional, they can make their cheeks appear a little bit more maybe flush, and they can make their eyes water a little bit. But when you're dealing with an actual actor, like, you're gonna have to, that actor's gonna have to cry, you know what I mean? Like, we're gonna have to see those tears. And not to say that Gordon was bad towards the tail end of season 1, I just didn't get a lot from him. I got a lot from the show, and I got a lot from some of the other actors, and I believed that he was Aang, and I think that's all that the first season is really asking you to do, right? But as we move into season 2, my expectations are really going from here to like here. You know what I mean? There's a bar that he has to meet, and I'm hoping and I'm confident that he can get there. And so I made a small little list of just a few different things that I want to see out of Aang and Gordon, kind of just like both of them combined, you know what I mean? The fictional character and the actor. here what I want to see out of all this as we move into season 2 as well as season 3. And I think the one thing that's kind of on top of the mountain that I want to start with is more emotional depth. I want to see him feel the weight of being the Avatar and not just kind of skating through scenes with jokes and smiles, because again, that's a lot of what season 1 was, but that's not at all what season 2 is. Season 2 is when he starts confronting loss and pressure and fear of the Avatar state. And then, knowing everything that we know, what happens in season 2, as we move into season 3, we need to see those repercussions. Like, we need to see the trauma of what happens to him at the end of season 2 reflecting into season 3, and you can actually see a personal struggle showcased right there in front of you in live action. I think that's really important because as it relates to live action, people go through very traumatic things, and when you watch that on screen, whether you're watching like a veteran, like a war movie or something like that, and you're watching a veteran deal with some sort of PTSD, or if you're watching a movie that is dealing with some form of abuse and somebody has that PTSD of some sort of trauma, like I want to see in Aang's character him having to actually deal with this stuff, because trying to go into the Avatar state and then failing and getting knocked out of it and almost dying from Azula, that is huge, and it's kind of breezed over a bit in season 3 as much as it can be because it is an animated series, but I just want them to dive deep into a lot of that emotional stuff. But this next part, this next one that I wanted to talk about, it kind of ties into that, the emotional depth, because a lot of that relates to Katara, and a lot of Aang's emotions stem with Katara, and one of the biggest complaints I saw out of season 1 is Aang and Katara's relationship. Where was it? You know what I mean? We didn't see a whole lot of it, and the excuse is valid. Like, these were child actors. They were really young when they filmed season 1, and so you're not going to see a lot of that like budding romance, but now if they are a little bit older, we are going to start to see that. But you can even start throwing in layers of just overall tension. You have these two characters that are spending a lot of time with each other, and Aang is clearly feeling something for her. She might be feeling something for Aang, but there's a little bit of denial there. And again, when you're spending this much time with people can get annoying. I know Katara treats Aang a certain type of way because he's just naturally gifted, and it takes Katara a little bit longer to figure this stuff out. But what happens when Aang starts to feel that pressure, not just from her, but from the group, but also when he's trying to battle that with his feelings that he has with him kind of falling in love with her at such a young age? Because at that age, we all know, man, at that age, you have no idea what to do with all of those feelings. And so I want to see that. I want to feel that out of this young kid who's growing before our eyes within this series. I'm also hoping that there's just less overall reliance on comic relief. I wouldn't say the first season is hilarious by any means, but you see Aang doing a lot of different things that are just funny. He's a funny young kid who is overly positive, and he's kind of a lot to handle. But in this season, I want to see him mature more. I want to see him have a bit more of a serious tone, especially post Appa's kidnapping. Like, if we get to that point in the season and Appa gets kidnapped and Aang's just like, oh man, Appa's gone, what are we gonna do, guys? What do you guys think? I'm gonna be like, oh man, come on. You know what I mean? I need to see the Aang from the animated series that hits his staff against the sand and it looks like a nuclear explosion happens in the desert. You know what I mean? I want to feel those moments, and I want that kind of stuff to resonate, because when it comes to the comedy, you got Momo, you have Sokka, you have characters that are gonna handle that. So Aang doesn't need to be that anymore, because this overwhelming responsibility of saving the entire world, that's going to start to weigh on him more and more as we get into season 2 and season 3, and that's what these two seasons are all freaking about. I also think that they could do some really clever things with foreshadowing in this season, especially maybe with the Avatar state. Like, you're looking at Roku, like even the lion turtle sequence that's in the 3rd season, like you could somehow subtly foreshadow that, kind of like we were talking about earlier. You could start to throw in some of those notes, but I just feel like with the Avatar state, I want to see, I guess, what is that principle? Like, show, don't tell. Like, I don't want the dialogue to constantly be telling us, like, I have to learn the Avatar state, I have to master the Avatar state, oh man, I'm afraid of the Avatar state, I don't know if I can control the Avatar state. Like, I don't need to be told that. I've already seen the animated series, and I don't think just a natural, like, the main audience that's going to be showing up for this show needs to know that as well, even if they haven't seen the original animated series. Like, I feel like we just need to feel what Aang is feeling with the Avatar state. We need to feel and see his fear that he has of it, and the instability he has around it. I feel like it just needs to feel more earned, and again, just less like a plot device that's constantly driving the show, because that was another huge thing that people have complained about with season 1. It's just the dialogue felt very in your face. This is exactly what's happening. This is what we're doing now, and then we're going to this, and then we're going to this, and then we're going to this. It's not, I'm showing you as a television show, I'm showing you that this is happening, therefore this is going to happen, and you as the audience member get to have a lot of fun connecting the dots. That's what's so great about the original animated series. They had a great feel for that, and as much as I love the first season of the live action adaptation, the writing could have been a lot better, and it still can be a lot better. Luckily, we're only dealing with a third here, and we now have season 2 and season 3 to move into, you know what I mean? And so I'm very much hoping for a massive success. I'm hoping for some great writing and some great moments with him as a character, but I think when I look at all these things that I wrote down, the biggest thing that I want out of Aang is more emotional depth as well as more maturity. Gordon is not a kid anymore. This actor is growing, the character is growing, and they need to work together and give us one hell of a performance for this entire thing to work, because if you get to the end with Ozai and Aang is getting ready to save the world and you feel nothing for the character, then it didn't work. It didn't work. He is the center of this thing, and if he's not holding it down, then we're all screwed. So no pressure to Gordon. And I love Gordon, dude. All the behind the scenes stuff, it seems like he just absolutely loves this role, and I loved what he did in season 1. He was just a kid, man, and watching Aang as a kid on screen in live action was such a fun and cool experience. But I think there's a lot of potential there, and I think there's a reason why they cast this kid. They must have seen something that they knew was gonna transcend after season 1, and so that was a lot, but that was just some stuff I had to say about Aang. I'm really excited to see what they do with him in season 2 and 3. I do want to hear your guys' thoughts, though. What do you guys think about Aang heading into season 2 and season 3? What did you think about his performance, Gordon's performance in season 1, and how do you think that's gonna connect into season 2 and season 3? Where do you think all of this is going to go? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on all of this, so please go down to the comment section, leave me a paragraph, leave me a novel, I don't give a shit. But I hope you guys are having a great day, and more than anything, you're keeping up the good vibes. I will see you in the next video. Yip, yip! Whoa! I'm flying! I'm falling!